Recently, President Donald Trump of the United States of America threatened South Africa over what he termed the aggressive acquisition of land from white farmers and from white people. You know, in the classical style of Donald Trump.
South Africa, terrible things are happening in South Africa. The leadership is doing some terrible things, horrible things. So that's under investigation right now. We'll make a determination. And until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.
There's a lot of things that are happening in South Africa, a lot of bad things. People are just taking land everywhere. Of course, we know how Donald Trump would have talked about it. Now, he said America is ready to sanction South Africa based on the fact that South Africa has passed a law to acquire lands from the white farmers. This should call for the unity, or this should call for the concerted efforts of Africans too, to understand that anything that threatens the establishment of the Western powers, the powers of the white people, they will close ranks and ensure that they frustrate such efforts.
I mean, expropriation is not new in South Africa and is not new in America as well, right? Expropriation is very common in the US, perhaps not for land reform purposes, perhaps it should be, but it's not as common in the US for land reform, but it's definitely common in other countries, as you've mentioned. That has been mentioned earlier in one of your reports on Al Jazeera that Elon Musk is now presidential advisor to President Trump, right? And I think this has a big deal to do with the fact that Trump now has a renewed interest in South Africa's land reform policies, because Elon Musk has for a while now been on a misinformation parade about South Africa and about the policies. A lot of the policies that are getting to Elon Musk and President Trump's ear are actually not accurate at all, right?
The Boers in South Africa are happy. The white minority that controls the economy of South Africa believe that very soon South Africa will be like Zimbabwe. Now, when they make that example, what we should know is that Zimbabwe failed because of Western sanctions. So they are expecting the same sanctions on South Africa in order to frustrate the efforts of the South African government to get the lands, stolen lands, back from the white settlers. Now, these lands were never sold to these white settlers. They were stolen. The white settlers, from the Dutch people down to the British people, came to conquer South Africa, instituted apartheid in South Africa, controlled the economy and continue to control the economy of South Africa. Now, the basic thing that the South Africans are clamoring for, the black South Africans are clamoring for, is their land. Let us get back our lands. These lands were never sold to the white people. These lands were taken away from us forcefully. They were stolen. But now, the Europeans wouldn't have that. The Western world wouldn't have that. They are ready to cripple South Africa because of that. Now, to the Africans, can we do the same thing for the United States because of Haiti? If the United States decide to go against Jamaica, can the Africans do the same thing against the United States in Jamaica? Did we even do the same thing against the French people in Haiti when they instituted this neo-colonial policy against Haiti to cripple and crumble that country? Back home in continental Africa, we felt relaxed. It was none of our business. But now, something is affecting the Europeans in South Africa, and Donald Trump, who has always campaigned on the principle of America first. To him, he is not interested in anything outside of the American hemisphere. But now he's interested in South Africa because something has threatened the white settlers in South Africa. Africans should learn from this. We are not always in support of our own people. Even at the African continent, we are not even supportive enough, not to talk of going outside the African continent. If it is the Africans that control a country like Australia, with what is happening to the Aborigines in Australia, the indigenous people of Australia, the white people, the Western world would have risen against such a country. But today, Australia oppresses the indigenous people, the Aboriginal people in Australia, and there is no African voice. Nobody is talking. The same thing is happening to the people of Papua New Guinea. They are being oppressed by the Indonesian government, and nobody is talking. And despite the fact that these people are black, they have that black skin and they look like the Africans. All what the Europeans need is for you to look like them, is for you to be white, for them to support you. Anytime a policy is instituted against their own white people in any country whatsoever, all what they need is for you to have that skin. Today, the United Arab Emirates is supporting the rapid support forces in Sudan to kill off the indigenous people in Sudan. The non-Arab people in Sudan are being wiped off. The ex-militias from the Janjaweed group, who are now part of the rapid support forces, they are killing off the non-Arab people supported by the United Arab Emirates. Where is the African voice? The Africans are relaxed. They do not have time. They don't really care. And this is what the Western world will not do. So the Africans, we really need to learn. We must close ranks to ensure that South Africa is not crippled like Zimbabwe. Now this is this kind of story they want. They will cripple a country with sanctions and they will claim they can't govern themselves. They can't really farm the land. Zimbabwe is trying to bring the white farmers to come and farm the land. That is the same ideology they want to give the South Africans. So that when the likes of Donald Trump sanctions South Africa, South African government will feel the heat and they will feel, no, South Africa can't really govern. The black people in South Africa can't govern, and they will need the white people to come and rescue them. That is the essence of what they do. So the Africans will really have to learn. Donald Trump is talking because it is about the white people. If it's about the black people, he will not talk. Now, if something is about the black people outside of the African continent, do we have that capability to support them? Do we have that capability to rescue them? Do we have the capability to raise our voices and to be heard? This is a great lesson for the Africans to learn.